This video explores the chromatic third relationship as one chord progresses to another. In a chromatic third relationship, we are talking about the motion of the root tone from one triad to another of either a minor third or a major third going up or down. An example would be a C major triad moving up a minor third to an E flat major triad. This is a very interesting progression. Obviously, it is not diatonic, but it does have one common tone, the G natural. At the same time, it has one chromatic conflict. In other words, the C major triad has an E natural, but the E flat major triad has an E flat. It is this combination of unity, that is the common tone, and also the conflicting chromaticism that makes this such an interesting sounding progression. Here's another example, the C major triad moving down a minor third to another major triad, the A major triad. Again, we see the common tone, E natural, in both chords, but a chromatic conflict between the C and the C sharp. We can try the same effect by moving up a major third rather than a minor third. In this case, the C major triad would move to an E major triad. Notice again a common tone, E natural in both chords, and a chromatic conflict between the G and the G sharp. We'll find something similar if we move down a major third from a C major triad to an A flat major triad. Again, a common tone, the C natural, and a chromatic conflict between the E and the E flat. One other progression to explore is the motion of either a minor third or a major third using minor triads. In this case, the C minor triad will move up a minor third interval to the E flat minor triad, and we see similar features. A common tone, E flat in this case, and a chromatic conflict, G flat. Moving down, we see the C minor triad moving to an A minor triad. That's root tone motion by the minor third again. And we see the common tone here, C, and the chromatic conflict between E flat and E natural. And the final progression to explore are these minor triads, in this case moving up a major third. And when we do that from a C minor triad to an E minor triad, we have a common tone, G, and a chromatic conflict between the E flat and E natural. And our final progression here will be from a C minor triad down a major third to an A flat minor triad, and as predictable, a common tone here, E flat, and a chromatic conflict, C or C flat. We can look to Debussy for some very interesting examples of this kind of chromatic third relationship. And one place to look is in his Suite Bergamesque, the very famous piece called Clair de Lune. In this excerpt from the very end of this movement, we see alternating chords between the D flat major and the F minor, but what's interesting is the appearance of the F flat major triad. And this comes back again for the last three measures, because this is the final cadence. F flat moving to D flat. That is not a diatonic progression and is quite unusual as a cadence. In this case, we can see these major triads moving by the interval of a minor third in root tone progression. And as we saw earlier, this is predictable that there would be a common tone, in this case an A flat in both chords, and a chromatic conflict between the F flat and the F natural. Here's another example, the Trois Chansons de Debussy. This is the piece called La Flute de Pan, or Pan's Flute. A few measures in, we see the progression of C sharp major moving to E major. Not a diatonic progression, but it is a chromatic third relationship. The root tones C sharp and E are a minor third away. With both triads being major, we can predict that there will be a common tone, in this case a G sharp, and a chromatic conflict, E sharp compared to E natural. One final piece that we will look at is called General Lavigne Eccentric. This is like a little cakewalk that Debussy writes in his book of preludes, book 2. The piece starts with a very peculiar progression, right at the very beginning. He presents to us a series of triads. First, an E-flat minor triad, and it moves up a major third to a G major triad. It is a chromatic third relationship, but this is a rather unusual one, because when moving to a major triad from this original minor triad, we don't have any common tones, but in fact only 2 chromatic conflicts. It creates a rather peculiar sounding progression. And then Debussy continues from the G major triad to a B-flat minor triad. Obviously, these chords are not diatonic, but they are chromatic thirds. By going up from a major triad to a minor triad, going up the minor third in the root tones, notice that we don't find any common tones, but instead 2 chromatic conflicts. In this case, the B natural compared to the B flat, and the D natural compared to the D flat. When you listen to this progression, take particular note of the sound of these chords moving in thirds with all of these peculiar chromatic conflicts.